Yo, it's your friend Dinner Dog, and today we're gonna go through and take a look at the standard route of the second castle. So, like, routing in general in the randomizer is a really big deal, but surprisingly, when you get to the second castle, it's pretty straightforward. But being equipped with this knowledge is really important. So, in today's video, we're gonna cover what the route is. We're gonna talk a little bit about why it's fast. We're going to look at what it means to go left, because you may have heard that before, and you probably don't want to do it, but it's a thing. And lastly, we're going to look at when do you go back to the first castle if you are going to go back to the first castle. So let's break it down. So this is the standard route in a nutshell. So you're coming out here in the teleporter, and you're essentially going, from right or through the right side of the beginning part of the castle, making your way over to creature, and then going up. So let's look at this. So you're gonna get out here. You're gonna fight Darkwing Bat. You're gonna bounce the way you came back. You're gonna go up. Probably grab the teleporter unless you have a library card. And then you're just going to start going through a logical progression through the second castle. We're going to fight Medusa. You're going to go up and around. Hopefully, you're going to be able to fight Doppelganger if you have a transformation. And then, most importantly, you're going to go up here and grab this All Rocks teleporter. And you absolutely want this teleporter. You may not want the first castle All Rocks teleporter, but the second castle one you definitely want, because you're going to be ending the game here in the middle of the castle, and having access to this teleporter is going to save you a ton of time. And it's pretty much right on the route. And then over to CV Trio and over to Bees. So really the strategy with the second castle route is prioritizing density and prioritizing this teleporter. So you grab the first obvious check, and then you go through and then just get all of these juicy checks on the right side of the castle. So we're in this setting I have here, it's set up for guarded, but even if you don't have it on guarded, it's still faster because you're going through areas that are relatively straightforward. They're safe, they're not dangerous, and they're pretty fast. If you were to go the other way through Darkwing Bat, which we're going to talk about later, it's slow and it's dangerous. So it's not really the greatest option. So we're covering off a lot of ground here, getting a lot of relics, and we're setting ourselves up for the end of the game, that we can teleport right here and be a hop, skip, and a jump away from getting to the final fight. The and that's pretty much all there is to it in terms of why the standard route exists and why it's fast. I mean, theoretically, you could go up to fight the CV trio by going up the side here and up and around, and then going back and around. But then you're doing all sorts of backtracking, right? This route covers tons of ground, sets yourself up for success, gets the most density in relics, and doesn't do any backtracking. So if you're watching almost everyone who plays the randomizer when we're doing races, everyone's going to be doing this route. There's very little deviation to it, and we'll be talking about that. So let's just break this down a little bit more. So the first part of it is just the CV trio fight. Like, we're going to get from the beginning, we're going to fight Darkwing Bat. We're going to probably grab this teleport unless we have a library card. We're going to scoot on over, fight Medusa, go on, get to All Rocks, hopefully. And that's why this yellow line is here. If you don't have a transformation, unfortunately, you're going to be leaving All Rocks behind. Come on up, grab the teleporter, and then make your way through the rest of Reverse All Rocks, getting to the CV Trio fight, potentially making a small detour here if you don't have Mist. But the benefit of going up here is that you get 3 item checks by going up. So you're guaranteed to see them. So it's a pretty good thing there. So the other cool part about this route, other than that it's avoiding backtracking, with the exception of maybe having to go back to fight All Rocks, is that the save rooms are very conveniently placed. If you get to second castle without much mana, there's a save room for that. When you get to the end of this hallway, and if you're using Bat or Power of Wolf, there's a save room, right? There's a save room here after you fight Akmadon, or you skip them if you don't have the transformation, and that sets you up for success to get up the well here. There's a save room here if you need to save before trio, but you probably don't need much mana for the fight. So it's very convenient. You're not really in a place where you're going to be running out of mana too much. Where you'll might have to skimp on mana a bit is about when you get over here and you're going to go and fight all rocks in particular. Like if you're using bat through the whole area, you're probably running out of mana at some point around here. So you'll have to like jump your way up here or get lucky. They just have enough mana and like you've managed it well enough to get to the save room. But otherwise, you hit the save room and you go back up. So it's a fun time. So that's essentially the first leg of the route. The next leg is gain to bees if you're playing garden. You'll notice there's two different routes here. The ideal route has you going through the reverse chapel, especially if you have bat, because you can do wing smashes against the slope, which is the ceiling, and if as long as you maintain that wing smash chain, you'll get through that area very nicely and won't have to worry about the dangers that lie within it. Mostly the imps that will take control of you, and then you get over here to bees, and then you're on your way without any backtracking. The alternate route is here because the only way to get to bees through the chapel is you need to have the Jewel of Open, and you're gonna make this mistake for sure because everyone does. But if you don't have Jewel of Open, you've got to go through the alternate route here. Now there is a bit of a benefit to it in that you can make a save split here at this save room, just past the Guardian room. But otherwise, it is faster to go the other way, even though you don't get the save split. It's still faster. So ideally, we go to that side. But if you need to, you go through that, and then take the save state or save split if bees has nothing, and it's a bit of safety too. Anyways, so that's to get to bees. The next part is very dependent on your relic. So we get from bees, and we're gonna get to this area here of the reverse marble gallery, and we need to make a decision. And this is called the manly split. So this is a slight deviation where you go up here, do a save up here, and then you go back the way you came, and then you go to fight the creature. So the reasons you do this are A, you're going to get a whole bunch of mana, and B, you'll save time if creature ends up being nothing. The drawback is you've got to make this movement here twice, at the very least, and then three times you need to make this yellow movement if you do go to bees or not bees, sorry, if you go to creature and it is something, then you gotta do all that movement again. It's kind of awkward, but generally speaking, you want to almost always do the manly split, um, unless you have bat and a good chunk of mana left. It really sucks to be in this hallway and run out of mana. That's really slow. The and it kind of stinks too without bat. There are some strategies you can use with wolf, in particular having like with skill wolf and power wolf and all that kind of stuff. I'm not that great at it, but I should do a video on it at some point. The but it really sucks to run out of mana here. So if you have bat and you've practically out of mana here, it's worth it to save split. In this whole area, if you run out of mana, it's a really good place to invest in mana prism if you happen to have one. That's a good place to burn it. But anyways, that's the manly split. The Some people will deviate from this plan entirely and just instead of doing the manly split or fighting creature, they'll just skip creature entirely. That's a valid strategy, but it may lose you the game. But if you're willing to sacrifice this relic check, then it's a potential winning strategy. So that's how that bad boy works there. And then to finish it off, you're just going up. You're going over here to the reverse holy symbol check. If you're playing guarded, you're fighting top 40. You're fighting death, and then Galamoth if necessary. And in this area is where we're going to start seeing the benefit of opening the All Rocks teleporter. So if you fight death or Galamoth and you're ready to beat the game after beating them, then this teleporter is super convenient. You will feel terrible if you've got to walk all the way back. It really sucks. If you're in this area here and you get the final Vlad, Then going down, like to just get to the final fight makes sense. You don't want to go through this area here if you don't have to. A, because it's slower, and B, it's kind of dangerous there. Like if we look at this, like there's the bomb knights and which, or no, the rock knights. Sorry, they can really hit you hard if they connect. And the Venus weeds, right? Like if you drop a wing smash in here, or if you just don't have bat or any transformation, like you could be KO'd really quickly. So we don't want to go up and fight death and get that save here if we don't have to. But if we have killed death, then we absolutely want to use this teleporter to get back over here. And of course this teleporter is great if you get to Galamoth, realize you need to go back to the first castle, and then you come back and say, okay, well I'll just use this teleporter to get over here, and I'm going to save myself a whole bunch of backtracking as well. So that's the standard route, and there's it's very very optimized. Like there are a couple decisions to make, but it's not like the amount of decisions you'll make in the first castle. There is one essentially big decision you can make, but you probably shouldn't. So this is the go left play. So this is you fight Darkwing Bat here, and instead of going over to the right where all these really sweet dense checks are, you just say screw it. I'm going to creature right now. So the only reason you should do this is if you're a gambler and you know you're behind. So what you're saying is, I'm over here fighting Darkwing Bat. Someone else is over here fighting Akmadon. I can't catch them. There's no way to do it. I won't make it. I'm just setting myself to lose if I go right. And then you say, okay, well, screw it. I'm going to go left. Now, remember, especially if you're in a race with a lot of people, the odds that you can't catch up to everyone are slim, and the odds that you may throw everything away going left first are increased. But it can be useful. So there's a number of problems with this route, though. So other than leaving 4 checks behind, we've got to make this movement through the reverse clock tower, and it's slow. This room in particular up here has these guys that fly and have flamberges, and there's Medusa heads. It's a mess. So if you don't have like something to get through here, like gravity boots, or just like mist and power of mist, you're gonna have a rough time in here. And then this climb, like the way I've drawn it is pretty straight, but it zigzags all over here. It's painful, it's slow, it's not fun. But so if I'm giving all these negatives, why the hell would you do it? Other than saying that if I go right, I'm going to lose. The what you're trying to accomplish here is say, well, if creatures got something, then I'm going to have it, like it's going to be helpful for me, although that alone isn't going to get you into a good place. So the strategy is not to fight creature and then teleport back. The strategy is I'm going to fight creature. I'm then going to continue, and I'm going to hopefully get to the caverns first. That's really what the big play is here, especially if you do perform this in a guarded seed. You're hoping that although I've left 4 checks behind, my competitors are going to spend so much time going through these fights, which are kind of difficult, at least some of them. That I can get to the caverns first, and I'm hoping that the caverns have the goods here, right? The I've kind of shown it going to opening this teleporter, but like you kind of don't want to teleport back here, ideally, unless like you're going back to the first castle, like if you need that to happen. The route purpose isn't to grab all of these things and then teleport back and do the rest of it. Like that's not the goal. If you have to go back and get these 4 checks, you've practically lost at that point. It takes too long to go through this section to make up the lost time, but you do get to the cavern sooner, and you're avoiding again. Like Akmadon is a fairly easy fight. It doesn't usually take a long time, but could be have some difficulties. CV Trio without the right or with not great equipment can be challenging. Bees can certainly be a problem. DB's got a great video on how to beat bees, but certainly it can trip people up. And just all the movement you've got to go through here. The biggest sacrifice, though, other than the 4 checks, is you're losing this all rocks teleporter, right? So let's say that you're right. Like you're correct in that you go left, you grab everything here, you get to the caverns faster, you've got to fight Death and Galamoth, and either you've got everything now and you're gonna go to the final fight, or you've got to go back to the first castle and you just bounce right away from the teleporter and back out. But now you've got to, even if you've done that and that was the right play, when you come back to the second castle to beat the game, well, now I've got to go from here and do all this movement that my competitors have already done to get to the final fight, right? Like that's kind of gross. So it's not to say that it can't work, all right? Like people have done it and it's worked. Some people do it more often than others. Some people will never do it and poo-poo it all the time. Personally, I'm not a fan of it, but I also don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. I get why people do it. I don't think it's ideal, but the you do get to caverns faster, and you're just betting that creature and the caverns have the goods, and that the right side of the castle is a bust. The That's really how that works. So, lastly, then we're just taking a look at the entire map here. But when do you want to go back to the first castle? So, oftentimes, it's library card dependent. But some great places to go back if you do need to go back and you're just say, okay, I think I've got what I need to open up things in the first castle, which will allow me to beat the game. Especially if you already have 4 Vlad relics and you're playing a preset that uses complexity. It could still be bait, but you're essentially saying, screw it, I want to go back. So my take is you want to go back after getting the All Rocks teleporter. So if let's say you get something here at Darkwing Bat, it can be very tempting to just leave right away. And to be fair, it could work out. But you're going to have to make all of this movement anyways. Even if you get all the relics in the first castle and you're ready to beat the game, you still need to make this movement, right? So just do it now. And like Medusa here may have something that's useful, right? Maybe you skip Akmadon, although I wouldn't recommend it. But you fight Akmadon, you've got 2 more checks here, and you have a bit more certainty before you decide to go back, right? And then when you do come back, you can teleport here very quickly, where your competitor has to do the movement that you've already done, right? So it's a nice thing to say, I'm gonna go back at the All Rocks teleporter and open that bad boy up. The next place I'd say, which is good to go back in sometimes, is Bees, because especially following the standard route, you're all the way over here on the right side of the second castle. If you have a library card, and then you come back to the second castle, you've got this teleporter open, and then if you need to continue, either you're ready to beat the game, or if you need to continue through the second castle, you're in a good place to do it. So I think that's fine. The other best place is at Death because again we've got a teleporter. A lot of people like skipping Galamoth because it's a little bit out of the way, and Galamoth takes a while with, especially if not great equipment. The it's tomato tomato. I personally like just going and fighting Galamoth, but it's a good time to say, okay, I'm gonna leave now because if you're wrong and there is something at Galamoth, well, the teleporter's right here, and you didn't really lose much time there, right? Lastly, you could go back after fighting Creature, but this isn't that great. I wouldn't recommend it that much. Like you if you have a library card, it's better. But if you've got to go down to this teleporter, it's kind of gross because you've got to like ping pong your way down these stairs here. The and it's just gross. At that point, by the time you ping pong these down these stairs, you're probably already back over here. Like just keep her going, right? But you can make a play, especially if you're playing on a preset that has complexity and you think you figured it out. But we'll talk about complexity in the 300 series. Don't you worry about that bad boy for now. Anywho, that's it for me. As always, if I've screwed things up, let me know in the comments. The pinned comment will have any corrections, and yeah, we'll see you in the next one. Cheers, eh?